My 40 female, husband of 8 years, 41, spent his 20s and early 30s building his business. Part of why he turned to being an entrepreneur was he had a tough time holding down jobs, to the point that having a business was the only way he could earn money. Either a supervisor was too dumb or controlling, or because my husband didn't have the degree or experience required for the jobs he could tolerate, or the hours at the jobs he had were horrible. I understand his struggles for all those reasons, and since we started dating 14 years ago, I was the primary breadwinner, simply because I had a steady source of employment. My husband told me that I was the only second serious girlfriend he ever had. He did a few hookups here and there before we met, but mostly with women much older than him, who never went beyond one-night stands. When we started dating, he would always actively try to pursue me and telling me how lucky he was to have me, saying I was worth the world. Flash forward nearly a decade and a half, and now we're married with 2 young daughters. Things started working out for us around 5 years ago, and I've never been anything but supportive. I quit my job to take care of our kids after he moved us to a lovely suburb. But these past few years, he's been treating me differently. Like me, our daughters are a source of annoyance. He's part of many professional organizations, and his own company loves a good party, but I'm increasingly not his date to any of them. When I'm alone with him, he at least talks to me, but if a beautiful girl joins the group, it's game over for me, and I'm excluded from his social interactions from that point forward. He talks to people within earshot about how beautiful this or that woman is. He tells me he's allowed to find other girls pretty. The final straw was during a company family thing when my daughters and I arrived, and my husband ignored us until somebody said hi to us. Then he waved his hand at us like he was bashful of our presence and dismissing us. In addition, the way his younger employees acted towards me made me suspect he was lying when he said he was going to these things without a date. Now we're in therapy, and my husband says he wanted 2 years of a test open marriage, where he could explore himself in a way he was never able to in his 20s. He says while I had the chance to play around when I was young and attractive, and other guys that weren't him could, he never could. I told him this is not what we signed up for, and that I didn't think it was the charitable thing for a wife to do. He accused me of liking the lifestyle he provides and said to go carve out my own life instead of complaining. I told him if he has intimacy, it has to be with me or I'm leaving. Am I the idiot for not understanding his struggle? His struggle? My foot? You are not the idiot. You invested in him, and he's failed you and your kids. Get a lawyer and quit going to therapy with him. He's going to cheat, if he hasn't already, because he's already decided that he's entitled to. And get tested for STDs. I would also hire a PI with his money to get proof. It always helps the divorce negotiations when you have it. If she quit her job to do the labor of staying home with their daughters, it's not his money, it's their money. Let's be real here. OP is a woman who was financially the breadwinner for most of their marriage, who then recently quit her job to build the family, and the husband is asked to open the marriage? 50% state or not, she'll end up getting the lion's share of finances, child support, and alimony enough never to work again. There isn't a court in the Western world that would side with the husband in this scenario. Also, he'll likely be forced into selling the business or buying her out at a substantial rate, since she was the primary breadwinner and has built up equity since the beginning. Yeah, that business is marital property. Take it, OP. Consult a lawyer ASAP. You supported him for 14 years, and now he thinks he can buy women who will have him since he has money? He would be nobody without all the support, emotional and financial, you gave him. Don't let him treat you like a doormat. And think carefully about what example you're setting for your daughters. I hope your second husband is nicer. My husband, 40, and I, female 38, have good jobs. We tried to have children for years and tried multiple rounds of IVF. But in the end, we decided to accept that it was not happening. We are now a 2-income, no-kids family. On the other hand, my sister was a single mom of 2 by the age of 26. Never married, kids have 2 different dads and both left. Then met a single dad of 1, so a total of 3 kids in the house, and married him right away. Since then, they have had 5 more kids, a total of 8. Now she just announced she's pregnant again. She doesn't work. He works long hours and doesn't lift a finger at home. Now my parents and sister are pressuring me to pay for my nieces and nephews' nanny. I told them my sister made a choice, so why should I sacrifice my savings? I paid for my college and saved up instead of splurging. My sister said my nieces and nephews are the closest things I have to a child, that I'm selfish for caring more about my dog and cat. I always buy my nieces and nephews presents. She's referring to my pets being loved by my husband and me. My parents call me selfish and jealous because my sister can have beautiful kids and I can't. Am I the idiot for not contributing to my sister's kids' nanny? My parents call me selfish and jealous because my sister can have beautiful kids and I can't. Wow, that's an indescribably cruel thing for them to say. Your whole family has serious issues. Not the idiot. She shouldn't keep popping out kids if she can't care for that many or make the money to look after them. Birth control is cheaper. She should try that. Exactly. How horrible. It's your turn to be offended. I would contribute to pay for your brother-in-law's vasectomy. Holy heck, dude, get off of her, especially when you're not helping her. OP, not your kids, not your responsibility. Honestly, I would stop communicating with them and buying stuff for her kids. Consider hiring a nanny/companion for your dog and cat for during the day to keep them company. Brag about it to your parents and sister and let them know they're just jealous that you can afford a nanny/companion and they can't. Then make a social media post about how blessed you are to have a loving husband and pets who adore you, how blessed you are to be financially secure, to provide for your family without having to leech on others, and how hard you worked to have a life filled with all these blessings. End it by telling them how selfish they are by trying to take your pet's nice things. Just go no contact with your sister and parents. Calling you jealous because she can have kids and you can't was uncalled for. It sounds like they always wanted to say it, and their unnecessary rage let it slip out. They don't care about you, only the money they want access to. My mom has 2 older kids, my half-siblings from her first marriage. They're twins and they're both 28 now. Their dad died when they were 6, and my mom remarried when they were 10. I, teen female, came along 2 years later. My sister, teen, a year after me, and my brother, younger teen, 2 years after her. I never felt close to my half-brother and sister. Being twins, they were always tight and had a bond that none of us could fully understand. Sometimes it made me sad that they were so close to each other, but not us. I used to think that was why we weren't close, but then I started to suspect it had more to do with being half-siblings and having a different dad. They were always okay with us. They weren't bullying us or anything. They never put any effort into the relationship and were always distant when we tried to get closer to them. Once they moved out, we hardly ever saw them. I saw them once or twice a year, and even then, it's rare for us to interact because they'll say hi and move on to talking to other people or doing things. We're not on each other's social media, though I tried. I don't have either of their numbers or anything. It's just how it is. Honestly, I stopped seeing them as half-siblings a while ago, and they do feel more like my mom's other kids due to the lack of a relationship. A few years ago, my siblings and I wanted to stay with them for a weekend. They lived together until a year or 2 ago, but they didn't want us there. I remember finding out through an aunt that they had some paternal cousins over for an entire weekend sleepover. It made me sad because their cousins would have been close to my age, and I didn't understand why they'd spend time with them, but not us. So there's the background, and I've grown to accept and understand that they don't need to be closer to us if they don't want to be. It doesn't make me sad anymore. Anyway, my parents were invited to a destination wedding, and my mom asked my half-siblings if one of them could let the 3 of us stay the 4 days they would be gone. They said no, and she'd need to find another solution. Mom asked them a few more times, and when I realized how often she was asking, I told her I thought she should stop asking. Mom asked me why, and I told her they never wanted to be around us, so I don't think they would want us in their space either. I pointed out that Grandma and Grandpa would let us stay, and she asked me why I'd say they, have siblings, never wanted us around. I told her that they've never made an effort, have never kept in contact with us, and invited kids of similar ages to us to stay for sleepovers, but never us. Mom told me that was the reason she should ask and try to convince them to spend time with us. I told her it wouldn't work, and I didn't want to stay with either of them now. She told me I should be appreciative and stop telling her to stop, basically. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The more your mom tries to force it, the more they'll push you away. Parents need to understand that after a point, you cannot force relationships and that it'll make things worse. I hope you and your siblings have fun staying at your grandparents'. Maybe your elder siblings were emotionally forgotten once Mom started her new family, or used as babysitters so much when they lived at home that the relationship was tainted beyond repair. Mom still expects them to step up when they resent the second family. I would message the siblings directly. Say you're very sorry that your mom keeps pushing the issue, and you've asked her to stop, as you've accepted their answer from the beginning. At least then they can't blame the issue on you. Man, OP can't message them directly. She has no way to contact them. She doesn't have their numbers or social media. OP, congratulations. As a teen, you already have a firmer grasp on what reality is and the maturity to accept it more than your mom does. Your life will be easier if you ignore your mom's delusions. It doesn't matter anyway. Focus your energy on issues that impact you. My son, Corden, teen, is a wrestler and struggles with being bipolar and bulimic. He's been in therapy since last year, after his mom and I started getting a divorce, and he wasn't taking it well. Things got so bad that he had to quit wrestling after his coach caught him throwing up in the bathroom. So far, Corden seems to be doing better and is on meds that seem to work for him. He even started wrestling again this year. His mom got engaged to the man she had an affair with last month, and since then, Corden seems to be slipping again. I'm pretty sure I've heard him making himself sick, and he's been in a bit of a funk after he quit talking to one of his teammates. After one of his therapy appointments, I spoke with his therapist about my concerns and how I could help more if I felt Corden was sinking again. He kind of slyly told me and my ex that maybe he might be scared of coming out to us, and he had a breakup. Luckily, Corden was waiting in the car and didn't hear that. I was furious, not because my son is gay, but because he didn't get to tell me himself. I cussed his therapist out on the spot and told him how unethical it was for him to tell me what he and Corden had talked about in outing a teenager. I threatened to report him after he said he was trying to help us. Later, my ex tells me she thinks I overreacted and that maybe it would be good to be in the know without Corden knowing. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What that therapist did was irresponsible. If they did this to someone with phobic parents, they could have put the kid in great danger. This needs to be taken seriously and reported, as this may not be the first time this has happened and may not be the last. The therapist should have talked with your son about finding a way to open up to you safely. They've destroyed all sense of trust your son had in them and likely undone a lot of work. It would be best if you found a new therapist for him. Oh my God, I wish more parents were as fast as you to call out how horrendous and dangerous it is to our kids, particularly those still dependent on their families. Of course, the cheater thinks hiding things and manipulating people is fine. The value of her opinions on ethics and morals is less than that of words. Don't pay attention to your ex's opinion. You look after your son's well-being. Reassure him he's safe with you, and you love and support him no matter what. A licensed therapist here. That's wildly unethical and illegal, and I would recommend reporting this breach of confidentiality. Your state will have a behavioral health board website, and there's a link on there to report issues. You can also use this to look up their license number if you don't already have it, as that would be needed. Your son's therapist is a huge idiot. He's taken such a beautiful sacred conversation from your son. I'm absolutely furious on behalf of your son. I, 24 female, am married. I have 2 kids, a male toddler and a female preschooler, and another baby on the way. My husband and I are looking for a new place, as cohabiting is not cohesive with 2 families. My roommates, 23 female and 25 male, just had their first baby together. My roommate, we'll call her Jane, is married. My other roommate, who we'll call Tom, is not her husband. Jane is currently fighting for her divorce and has 2 other kids, toddler, male and female, with 2 separate men who are not her husband as well. She doesn't have custody of her other 2. Jane and Tom do not have jobs. Jane's grandmother has been supplying diapers and wipes for the newborn. I recently refused to buy more distilled water for the newborn bottles. My kids drink juice, tea, and milk, and even occasionally soda, preschooler only, and she gets half a toddler cup. They drink tap water. I have no need for distilled water currently. I also told Tom he needed a job because my husband wasn't paying for his and Jane's child. They both seemed very upset about this and threw in my face that my family and in-laws regularly help with basic things for my children when we struggle. I pointed out that they do, but it's not constant, and my husband does have a job to support the family he chose to make. Jane has been normal to me, but Tom treats me like I'm a major idiot. So am I? So neither one has a job? She has a husband and a boyfriend, and 2 other children, neither of which are her husband's, nor does she have custody of them. And they thought it would be a good idea to have a baby? Wow, I wonder who will get custody of this one when she loses it. Seriously, not the idiot. How you put up with that is beyond me. Jesus, I'm confused. You both have a bunch of kids at such an age. Anyway, you don't owe them anything. Their child is their responsibility. And how are your family and in-laws helping with family matters related to this? Jane and Tom are just your roommates, right? Regardless, if they don't have jobs, they need to get their crap together because providing for their family is their responsibility, not yours or your family's. How do these freeloading losers pay their rent? At the moment, my husband is paying for it. Luckily, we live in the same town we went to high school in, and the landlord was nice enough to charge us way below market value for rent. We've all known each other since the 8th grade. Jane was homeless. Tom took her in. They started dating, and she got knocked up within a month. My family went through a crisis involving a house fire. Both groups needed a roof over their heads. It was a fast solution in less than perfect circumstances. So they don't pay rent. Why are you even asking if you're the idiot? If you continue to put up with this BS, then yes, you will be the idiot. Why are all of these people living in your home? No is a complete sentence. I suggest you start familiarizing yourself with the word. Also, it's not even recommended to give a baby distilled water. It is purified. Purified and distilled are different things.